The green light has just gone on, and the track is open for an afternoon of practice. There you can see Kenny Schrader, the first on the Speedway, prior to the richest race in NASCAR history this Saturday. ESPN2 welcomes you to 4 days of coverage of the 3rd annual Brickyard 400 from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Today, 2 hours of practice coverage. At 7 o'clock this morning, as the Hoosier sun was rising from the eastern horizon, the gates to the world's greatest race course swung open, welcoming back for the 3rd time the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. Defending series champion Jeff Gordon, hoping to repeat his win here in the inaugural event. If this is the yard of bricks and the start-finish line, both of which have been here since 1911, and this is the famed gasoline alley, it must be Indianapolis and the Brickyard 400. One of the many stories as the track gets open for practice involves the defending champion of this event. Here's Jerry Punch.
Well, that's garage number 3 you're looking at right there. That's where the defending champion's car is housed. How appropriate. Car number 3, garage number 3, the Brickyard 400. It's the 3rd annual. But the story isn't today. The story is what took place 4 days ago. Let's turn back the clock. Talladega Super Speedway, lap 117. The 7-time Winston Cup champion was leading. Contact Irvin and Marlon Earnhardt's car veers under the outside wall, catapults onto its left side, slides sideways down the track, is tagged 2, 3, 4 times by other cars, and miraculously somehow Dale Earnhardt able to get out of the car. The injuries we've already documented. He had a broken collarbone and a broken sternum. That's the breastplate. Dale Earnhardt is here, but will not drive the car today. He will attempt to qualify tomorrow. Once again, we are back in the Goodwrench garage, and behind me, Dale Earnhardt kneels beside the driver who will try to fill the seat. Mike Skinner already said, I cannot feel the shoes. I will simply feel the seat for this guy to be able to get as many points as possible. We're going to try to go by here and eavesdrop a little bit with the champ. Hey, champ. I can say this.
Me again.
We've talked about 3 or 4 times. Yeah, we've talked 3 or 4 times. We just got went live on ESPN2. Glad to have you here.
Well, it's good to be back. I wish I was in that race car, but you know we got Saturday's race to look at, and we want to get Skinner tuned up best we can, and you know get him comfortable in the car. That's our focus right now.
What are you able to tell him? How can you help him today as far as being here and with him lap after lap in practice?
Well, we tested the car, and we know what changes it'll make and how to affect the car. So just get him used to the racetrack today and comfortable with the car, and we'll work up to it.
Your timetable today, I know you're going to meet later today with Terry Trammell. You had a press conference earlier, and he was going to try to fit you with some devices to help you make you a little more comfortable.
Well, I hope he does. I hope he does. We're going to go over and see him this afternoon. Tomorrow we're going to try to get in the car and do a little practice.
So maybe one lap this week, 1 lap at Watkins Glen. When will you be full speed? You think you can maybe run at Michigan?
Well, I ain't ruled out this week yet.
Oh, man, he's the intimidator, the 7-time Winston Cup champion. Folks, don't bet on it. I think he's awfully sore, and he's a hurting puppy, but he won't let you see it right now on television. What a guy. Skinner getting bolted in. Next door, about 15 feet away, is the guy who won the first inaugural Brickyard 400, and that's Jeff Gordon, and he's standing by near Bill Weber.
Well, Jerry, for the first time since the conclusion of the Atlanta race last November, Jeff Gordon is back on top of the NASCAR Winston Cup point standings. This week, he's back home again in Indiana, and this is his home for the next 4 days, garage stall number 1 in Gasoline Alley. This is a good track for Jeff. He has a win here, a pole. He finished 6th last year. This season started off very slow, but he now has 6 wins, including last Sunday at Talladega, when admittedly he was the right guy in the right place at the right time. He's preparing now to make his first trips around the track here in 1996. This is a big weekend for Jeff Gordon. He's got the Brickyard 400 on Saturday and his 25th birthday on Sunday. And now he's rolling out of the garage, ready to take the DuPont Chevrolet over this famous 2.5-mile track. For more pre-race reports, let's go to Benny Parsons.
Well, folks, if you watched our practice show last year from Indianapolis Motor Speedway, you said I didn't see a lot of cars on the racetrack. That's going to change today because NASCAR normally has a rule that the teams can only use 12 tires or 3 sets until qualifying is over. And that means they couldn't use before Friday afternoon. So the teams did not practice a lot last year simply because they did not have tires to do it. This year on Wednesday, NASCAR has waived the rule. The teams can use all the tires they want to today. They can go buy all brand new tires, or they can use the tires that they used at Pocono. This is exactly the same tire that the cars used at Pocono. We see Derek Cope brought some tires, 4 laps, save for Indy. So he's not spending $1,325 just to make a lap on the racetrack to get a plug check. He's using some used tires. So 48 cars here, Drew, for qualifying. Bob and Ned will see cars on the racetrack, maybe 48 at one time.
Wouldn't that be something? And we're seeing a lot more cars on the racetrack this year also, not only because of the tire situation, because we have lovely Indiana sunshine.
Oh, it is absolutely perfect. The temperature, what, in the mid to high 70s here this afternoon, a little breeze stirring, no chance of rain, it doesn't look like, and the forecast looks good really all through the week. So, Bob, you live here in Indianapolis, you did good for us.
Thank you. We'll keep our fingers crossed. Well, teams have been coming here for the last 4 or 5 months, testing and getting ready for this important race. And the best testing speed that was turned in was by Greg Sachs, followed by Derek Cope. But look how much the speed has increased since Jeff Gordon's record last year.
Yeah, over 5 miles an hour, and I suspect we'll see it increase even more by qualifying tomorrow. And the reason is, of course, new pavement on the 2.5-mile Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That normally brings higher speeds. And everybody that I've talked to, Bob, says it is extremely smooth. And, of course, that is conducive to good speeds also.
Now, come on, Ned. This is just another NASCAR Winston Cup race, isn't it?
No, no, this is not just another NASCAR Winston Cup race. Sure, the points are the same at every race. Doesn't matter as far as that part's concerned, but it's at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It gets worldwide attention. And, of course, the money. More money here than they've ever run for in their life in one particular race, and that is very important. And it's a real show place where the sponsors can showcase their involvement in the sport, and that's very important to the drivers and the teams.
You're right. There is a lot of money at stake here this weekend. The purse has been increased even from its record level of last year. $4.6 million, including qualifying awards totaling $80,000, Unical Challenge Award $45,000. And if the winner of the race has the points lead at the end of the event, he will pick up $10,000 in cash. So a lot of money at stake. A lot of prestige is also at stake here at Indianapolis. And Jeff Gordon, one of those who has chosen to go onto the racetrack here in the early going to get in some practice laps. Now the track will be available to them until 5 o'clock Indianapolis time, 4 hours. And Ned, you'll see right there in the corner, last year there were some rumble strips down there to the left of the white line to keep drivers out of there. This year those strips are gone, and that's another reason for the increase in speeds. And there with the chart you can see Jeff's speed as he goes down the backstretch. He was at 160 miles an hour in turn 1 and turn 2.
And of course got up to 192 miles an hour. Yes, those riffle strips that they've taken away there has given them the opportunity to get a little bit lower in that turn. In fact, I talked to one of the drivers this morning and said, don't be surprised to see our left wheels down on that grass, maybe in the race, maybe not so much in practice or qualifying, but it has made a little bit of a different racetrack out of it, but it certainly has helped increase the speeds.
Well, Jeff Gordon is the points leader in NASCAR Winston Cup racing now, knocking his teammate from up a position there. And let's go to Jerry Punch, who's standing by with Terry Labonte.
Well, Bob, Terry Labonte is Jeff Gordon's teammate and stablemate here in Indianapolis. They're side by side here in the garage areas. And Terry, Jeff's already out there getting a few laps. So you're going to wait a while?
We're going to get out there in a few minutes. We're not quite ready, but we got a lot of practice this afternoon. You know, I guess we can run till 5, so that's plenty of laps, I think.
Considering what all happened at Talladega, you must consider yourself pretty fortunate. You were involved in that 11-car deal we just showed a moment ago with Dale Earnhardt and others, and yet you were able to come out and make a lap or two, which helped you as far as points are concerned. Didn't get you a great finish, but still helped a little bit.
It did. You know, we did everything we could to get back out there and try to make a couple laps because we did gain some positions, and you know, that's important. Every point counts when it comes to the championship, and so the guys did a great job on the Kellogg Chevy getting it back out there. It was torn up pretty bad. The whole bottom of the car was tore up, and they got it fixed just good enough to get back out.
Sort of a storybook season for Terry Labonte and the Kellogg's team, Rick Hendrick Motorsports. People are saying to run well here, you got to be cool, and nobody's cooler than Texas Terry.
Well, I don't know about that, but this is a tough racetrack here, and I haven't finished in the top 10 yet, and we've run pretty good, but just haven't quite gotten it yet. And I thought we tested pretty decent up here earlier, and so I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see, I guess.
What's this track remind you of? Is it a Pocono? Is it a flat like a Pocono? Is it maybe like the old Ontario Speedway in a lot of ways as far as a flat and rectangular shape? Yeah, it's real flat, and but you spend a lot of time in the corners, and the turns are awful flat. And of course, our cars like bank turns a little bit, and so your car really has to handle good in the corners, or you'll lose a lot of time. And or if you lose a little time in the corners, it just adds up to a lot, since you got 4 corners. But it's a lot like the old Ontario Raceway that we ran. Just only ran it, I guess, once, but it was something like that. Hey, Terry, best of luck to you. Have a great week. Okay, thanks. Bob?
Terry Labonte started 15th, finished 13th last year. There you can see Mike Skinner, who was shaking down the number 3 car in order to get it ready for tomorrow and Dale Earnhardt's qualification attempt. We'll take a break and be back with more live coverage of the first day of practice for the Brickyard 400 in Indianapolis. Welcome back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and practice for the 3rd annual Brickyard 400. Now, don't miss the run for the pole, as both ESPN and ESPN2 will bring you live coverage of the push pole qualifying. That is tomorrow. It begins at 2 o'clock Eastern Time on the Deuce, and then we continue our coverage at 3 o'clock over on the main network. Then second round qualifying Friday again begins at 2 o'clock on the Deuce. We switch over to Classic at 3 o'clock. This is the place to be to find out who wins the pole position for Saturday's Brickyard 400. Well, we've seen several cars out there, Ned. There's Ricky Rudd taking a few laps. We've seen most drivers go out there and take 1, 2, maybe 3 laps and then come in. Why don't they stay out there longer than that?
Well, they want to check a lot of things, Bob, in just a few laps. First of all, they want to see how the chassis is, but more important probably in this first run is they want to check out the engine. Be sure that each spark plug is burning right and proper fuel mixture and those kind of things.
Rudd moving through corner number 2 and going on to the backstretch. 1 lap record here at Indianapolis is 172.536 miles an hour, 52.163 seconds. That was set last year by Jeff Gordon. It is sure to fall tomorrow in the qualifying. 172.0 is the best speed that has been turned in so far in this first 15 minutes of practice by Brett Bodine.
And we're watching Ricky Rudd go around in the tie Ford, and he just moved up into the second position, just under 172 miles an hour.
BP, where are you at?
Well, I'm down in the garage area, Bob, but I haven't been able to catch up the Olympics like most people. I guess most of you folks been home watching Olympics on TV. Well, I've been watching ESPN and ESPN2, and I really don't know what's going on, but I know a place I can find the medal count. Kenny Schrader's car. They always keep the running total of the... Wait a minute. There's no numbers on you. Schrader! Schrader. Where's the numbers?
They were there when I went out, Benny, I swear. They were there. We must have ran faster than I thought.
You didn't go that fast.
Well, we didn't run bad, but no, they were there. I don't know. I guess, they're constantly updating them, so I guess somebody won something and they're changing them again.
How was the car? Feel good?
Car was good. We just made 2 laps, pretty conservative with it, but it was decent. We were about 6/10 off for what we tested, so that was good for the first 2 laps.
In 2 laps, what can you find out?
Just kind of see how scared you are. I think we're okay. The car feels good. We're just checking everything, making sure we're basically close to where we left. They went through the car after we tested here and come back and just basically baseline and make sure what you got.
I mean, they're checking on the car. Do I need to get a doctor down here to check on you?
No, I'm okay. Now that I've run 2 laps, I got my heart beating again. I'm ready to go. Now we can go play.
Okay, go ahead. Bob?
He's also going to play tonight, we understand, at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. There's an ARCA race out there, and Kenny not only is a co-promoter, but he's going to run in the event. So he's got a busy schedule this next few days. Dale Jarrett is on the racetrack in the In the Ford, he is 4th going in, but only 82 points out of first place. Those first 4 are really tight now. A little bit of a drop off there from 4 down through the top 10, but boy, Dale is still in the thick of the Winston Cup Championship battle, Ned.
Well, he led the points for the first 7 races of the year, and then Dale Earnhardt took the lead after the Martinsville race back in the spring, and Earnhardt stayed up there then until Terry Labonte moved ahead a few weeks ago. But Dale had a couple of bad races at Dover, Delaware, and Pocono, and dropped down 237 points behind the leader, and in the last 3 races has moved to within 82. So that just goes to show you once again that it doesn't take long. As we remember back to 1992 when Alan Kowicki won the championship, and after a race at Dover, Delaware, and there was only like 6 or so races to go, he thought he was out of the championship battle and came back and won the title.
And we're just past the halfway point of the season, so still a lot of time to go. And at one point, I think everybody was talking about how it was going to be a 3-man battle to the finish in Atlanta, but not so. Dale Jarrett is right in the thick of things. Now, here is our track map showing you the speeds achieved at the end of the straightaway. Dale was at 191 and then got off to 187 in turn 1. And
when we headed up a little bit earlier, Jeff Gordon, I believe, had run 192 at that highest point of the track. So, hey, wait a minute, that's 172. That moves Dale to the top of the list as far as the overall speed is concerned.
That is right. 172.436 is the fastest lap that has been turned so far, and Dale now backs off of the throttle and gets out of it. Will be coming in to the pit area this time, but he has just turned the fastest lap in practice so far, 172.463. Brett Bodine, Ricky Rudd, Rusty Wallace, and Lake Speed are the top 5 in speed right now, with speed at 171.871.
Bob, we talked a moment ago about some of the things that they can learn in just 1 or 2 laps. Gearing is another thing that they can check out, even though most of these drivers tested up here sometime within the last 30 days. But conditions change. Weather conditions are a little bit different from when they were here. It's not as hot as it was, and so sometimes that makes a difference in the gearing.
Well, Doc, Rusty's up to 171.916 already.
Not a surprise at all that Roger Penske's car is among the quickest here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Rusty just went out and ran a few laps and is back inside the garage. It sits inside the Miller Ford. And Rusty, this is one of your favorite rides, PC1.
Yeah, this is my favorite car right now. It used to be Midnight, but this car runs quicker than Midnight now. So this little car we call PC1 is our very first car. The real name of the car is it's named Manny after my father-in-law passed away not father-in-law, but uncle passed away a long time ago. But a real hot ride. It could have been 3 for 3. We're leading Pocono and fell out with the clutch. Won Michigan, won Pocono. Now we got it up here at the Brickyard. So got my fingers crossed.
What about the fact that you've been out early, just run a few laps, and are already up to speed, getting pretty comfortable? I mean, no one knows this track better than Roger Penske, who really loves to win here. He really loves to win here, and he really wished he'd be here. Just it's unfortunate, the controversy, but really that's only in the IndyCar side, nothing to do with the stock car stuff. The George family's been treating us wonderful, and we come right up to speed right off the truck with this car, so I'm excited about it. And Roger's, he really wants to win this thing bad. What do you do now? You go out and you run it. You just ran 3 or 4 laps, came in. Do you look at gear changes as far as what else do you think about here just running short burst early in the day? That's a good question. First of all, I went out there and I was just a little on the loose side. That was sticker tires we just unloaded with. The car ran almost 172 out of the truck, and I told the guys it's a little too loose getting in the second turn, so we'll soften the spring up in the right rear a little bit. We'll go out there, maybe that'll make it push too much, then we might have to put the spring back in, make a wedge adjustment or a track bar adjustment. We'll fiddle with it all day long. This is a great day today for us because NASCAR, we don't have the 3-tire rule going into effect today. So I got 5 sets of stickers out there. I'll blow them all on, spend the money, and get this thing flying for qualifying for tomorrow. Hey, like kids in a candy store, guys, all the tires they want to use, they get to change springs and shocks and dial these cars in, or as Rusty says, we get to fiddle with them all day long, Bob.
Rusty Wallace, the runner-up to Dale Earnhardt last year in the Brickyard 400, coming from a 24th starting position. He's happy with the early practice here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. There's all kind of racing here in the central Indiana area in the next 4 days. We'll have live coverage tonight of the DuPont 100 USAC Silver Crown race. I'll leave here from the Speedway as soon as we're finished with our telecast and go out there and join Larry Rice and Dave Despain. The Thunder Series and IRP tonight in the Silver Crown. That's at 9:30 Eastern Time here on ESPN2. Then, of course, tomorrow's the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, the Cummins 200 out at IRP, and the NASCAR Busch Grand National Kroger 200 on Friday night rather, at IRP.
There's Greg Sachs in the car number 29. He was the fastest in the test here, so we'll see what kind of a number he can put up on the board. Right at this point, Dale Jarrett is still the fastest at 172.4. Brett Bodine is second fastest at 172. Then Ricky Rudd at just a shade under 172, and Rusty Wallace is fourth, and he also is just barely under the 172-mile-an-hour bracket. And fifth in the line right now is car number 9 of Lake Speed. Ernie Irvin has moved up to 6th. Sterling Marlin 7th. 8th is John Andretti. 9th is Rick Mast. And 10th, Morgan Shepherd.
And you can see there, Ned, that he really isn't up to speed. Our trap speeds indicate that only about 181. That's at least 10 miles an hour off what he should be achieving at the end of the straightaway. So he's basically just warming the car up here. As soon as he crosses the line, we'll be able to give you a specific time, but it isn't going to be anything to write home about, that's for sure.
No, feeling it out.
It's 170.703, so that's not bad.
No,
I mean,
really,
that's
not
within.
bad when you look at those speeds. Although his top speed there at 192 miles an hour is a little bit faster than Dale Jarrett ran to pick his up, so he is definitely picking up.
Now you see the white numbers will change to black, indicating this lap's speed. And he just shut it down there in the middle of the backstretch, and we'll coast into the pit area and the garage area right now as the number 8 car of Hud Strickland goes by him and heads into turn number 3. Doc?
Guys, inside the garages, let me show you what's going on. To my right over here, Dale Earnhardt now talking with Mike Skinner. Now, all Mike has done is gone out in the Goodwrench Chevrolet and run 3 or 4 laps for a plug check. And we'll let Ned explain in a moment what a plug check is. But basically, they've come in, they've raised the hood, they're going to check, take the plugs out, check them, put them back in, and in about 5 minutes, Skinner's going to get in the car and go back out and run 4 or 5 lap runs all day long and come in and get out and talk to Dale Earnhardt about the handling of the car. That's what's happening to my right. To my left, Dale Jarrett has just come back in the quality care red carpet lease Ford Thunderbird. And Dale, in just a few laps, you got to be smiling. You're among the fastest.
Well, I'm sure that'll change here in a little while. These guys get used to it. We were just here last week testing, and so that helped a lot. The track's pretty slick right now, too, and I think that helped us. It was really hot when we were here on Tuesday of last week, and that probably helped us get our car adjusted a little bit better than some of the others.
Last year, incredible run here, 26 starting spot, but when they dropped the green, you came in a hurry and came up just 0.8 of a second short. This track's been awfully good to you.
Yeah, I enjoy the racetrack. It's a real challenge as a driver with the 4 distinct corners and the flatness of the corners. And I really enjoy this type of track, and hopefully we'll have a good weekend here with this Ford Quality Care Ford Credit Thunderbird.
What do you look for speed now? You're looking at the tire temperatures. What do you think? Do you look at trying to trim the car out? Do you look at as far as handling?
Yeah, right now, we're basically looking at what's going to be the fastest for us. We're not looking at a race type setup yet, so want to get the car pretty well balanced, knowing that whenever we tape the front end up a little bit more, that it's going to stick the front, so can't get it where it's too much, so where the car gets loose qualifying, but we got to get it trimmed out. These are some long straightaways, you need to take advantage with it, and of course with a Robert Yates engine, that helps too.
Well, the search for speed continues, and not a search in a long way with Robert Yates Motor. They certainly have the horsepower. Dale Jarrett sitting in the car, staring at the tire temperature sheets that the Goodyear engineers have given him. Meanwhile, there is caution on the racetrack while they check the track, and I think Benny Parsons is going to check in with another fast driver, Brett Bodine.
Hey, Bob, Ned, Bob.
Yeah?
Wake up. When you gave that rundown, didn't you say Brett Bodine was second fast?
That
is
correct. 172.025 BP.
170. Wait, Brett Bodine, come here, man. They tell me you are faster than a speeding bullet.
Well, I don't know about that, Benny, but the car seems awfully good, yeah. We had a successful test up here, and, Indianapolis has been awfully good to me in the past, and I think Donnie and I coming back here together gives us both a lot of confidence.
So how many laps you had so far, 2?
1 lap.
1 lap?
1 lap, and we've got a plug check, and now we're going to start making some changes. We're going to try some different things. The track seems to have changed a little bit from when we were here testing, and we're going to have to try to adapt our setup to it.
Well, I saw you guys talking and back and forth. What did you decide to change?
Well, we're going to go through a shock exercise here. We got 3 sets of shocks we want to try. And then we're going to start getting a little bit more serious as the day goes on about trying to get some speed, put some sticker tires on some tape, see how it handles in those conditions for qualifying. But right now, we're just trying to get a feel of the racetrack and how it's changed since we were here last.
All right, let's walk around here with the camera and just show what folks what we're talking about. Bring that. Well, we can't see some big fat guys in the way, about as big as I am. But anyway, here, they're changing this shock. They're taking this one off, and that one's going on. They look like exactly the same thing, Brett.
Well, they are Penske shocks. They are exactly the same on the outside. But Donnie's got them revalved different, some different pistons inside and some different valving, trying to get the car to get as much grip out of this racetrack as we can.
Hey, Bob, Ned, you know, you can see why I quit driving, because you know I'm not smart enough to do this.
Well, I'll tell you, something that has changed in this business dramatically over the last year or two is the shock absorbers. I know when I drove race cars, we had probably 2 sets of shocks, one we'd use on the dirt tracks and one on the asphalt, and that was about it. But now it is absolutely amazing to me at how the shocks have come into play. All of these teams have shock dynos, and they get them just down to the nth degree. It makes a big difference in how that car drives and handles.
A lot of changes since you were driving a race car. Let's take a look at the top 10 in speed now, as again the track is yellow. Nothing serious on the racetrack, just checking it over. Dale Jarrett at the top of the list at 172.4, just under the official track record here. And Morgan Shepherd comes in 10th quickest at 171.051. You can see a predominance of Fords there in the top 10, and maybe we'll get a chance to talk about that when we come back from this commercial break. But only one Chevy is in the top 10 right now. Greg Sachs is standing by to talk with us. We'll have that when we come back to the Speedway in Indianapolis. There's a skyline of Indianapolis just beyond the backstretch here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Here is the front stretch and the famous scoring pylon and the tower to your right, and the cars waiting to go back out onto the racetrack because we are under a caution here at the Speedway. Nothing serious, they're just checking out the track. So we've been for almost a half hour now of practice, and as we indicated earlier, Dale Jarrett is the fastest, and the track has just gone green again, so the cars will be going back out for more practice.
See Ted Musgrave, Jeff Gordon.
Greg Sachs is standing by with Bill Weber. Bill?
Well, this race is very important, so everybody tests here, and of all the everybody's, this was the fastest somebody. Greg Sachs and the Cartoon Network Chevrolet. You were pretty quick. How about this morning? You just went out and came back in this afternoon, actually.
Well, we just took a little shakedown run. I made one lap, and I didn't press very hard in turn one, kind of built a little more speed in 2 and 3. You know, there were a few changes made to the track here, and I didn't want to just jump right out there and kind of balls to the wall deal.
Your test session, the first thing everybody says when they hear who's the fastest or somebody's the fastest, they say, yeah, but were they legal? Well, your crew chief, Billy Engel, told me you guys were legal and you were quick.
Yeah, I feel real confident about the car. We look forward to coming here tomorrow and repeating and backing up what we've done here in the test session.
Obviously, you're going to try and nail down a pole here tomorrow, Greg. That'd mean a lot to you guys.
Well, that's what it's all about. You know, winning practice means nothing. They pay nothing for winning practice. Pretty big purse out there for tomorrow's run.
Well, you won last Saturday in the Busch race at Talladega, and you had a good run going on Sunday.
Well, we did. You know, the WCW car was great on Saturday. It was great to get back in Victory Circle. It was just a fantastic day. And Sunday, our Cartoon Network Chevrolet was really performing well. I was running in, you know, 10th to 15th most all day long, just kind of trying to take care of my car. And we were around 12th in that last deal when Dale had his incident and just got gathered up in it.
Okay, well, I know you want to go keep an eye on the competition, so I'll let you go. Have a good day.
All right, Bill, thank you.
Okay, that's Greg Sachs, and he's going to go keep an eye on some of the other guys. Now, he's driving a Chevrolet, and there's a lot of talk about spoiler size and spoiler angles and spoilers this and spoilers that. Now, the Chevrolets had a minimum of 60 degrees a year ago, and the Fords were lobbying to try and use that to slow the Chevrolets down. This year, as of now, it's my understanding there is no minimum spoiler angle. But, Benny, you got a little bit more on that?
Well, also the height of the spoilers are different. You're exactly right. I talked to Gary Nelson, and the spoiler angles right now, they can run about anything they want to. And the Chevrolets last year had a minimum of 60 inches. David Smith, crew chief for Dale Earnhardt, told me last year they won the race and they ran like 67 degrees of rear spoiler. But the one complaint we hear from the Chevrolet camp is that the Fords have a larger rear spoiler, and their spoiler is 6.5 inches high. All the spoilers are the same width across. This Ford is 6.5 inches high. And I know that we're going to get Bill Weber or Jerry Punch or somebody to find a Chevrolet and show us how high a Chevrolet rear spoiler is. But Jerry Punch, you're not with a Chevrolet right now, are you?
It'd be hard to show you that here, Benny. If I showed you a Chevrolet rear spoiler, we'd have a heck of a story, because I'm in a Ford garage here with Ricky Rudd. And Ricky, hey, but the story is that Ricky Rudd is among the quickest cars thus far in practice. And Ricky, you like flat racetracks, and Pocono is a prime example of your success there. And this is very similar.
Well, Jerry, the two tracks are real similar. We finished second in both Pocono races, and we were very competitive there.
with a shot to win the race. And, you know, we hate to keep saying that Pocono's a lot like Indy, but the two tracks do compare a lot, and we brought the same car back. Very similar setup with pro motors under the hood of this Tide Ford, and we've been pretty quick in practice.
Straightaway speed, is that the critical element here? Or, I mean, the turns are sweeping and are flat, but you have to get off the corners, and that pro motor does make a difference.
Well, these guys have always made good horsepower and good straightaway speed, and that's what we have to look at real hard for qualifying. Do you try to gamble and go for a lot of straightaway speed and just do okay in the corners, or do you work on the car, make it go through the corners really good, and then give up a little on the straightaway? And that's some of the things that will be going on today, is playing with spoiler angles and such, and trying to figure out which way is the quickest lap time. And then after we get all that squared away for one lap, then we got to go back and work on our race day setup.
Well, that's Ricky Rudd among the top 5 in practice, trying to continue that 13-year streak, 13 consecutive years with a victory, hoping to make it 14 if he can pick up a win here. Let's check in with Bill Weber. Bill, you can answer that Chevrolet spoiler question, can't you?
I can't answer it, but believe it or not, I got Bill Engel to put down his notepad, which is a major accomplishment, and you can tell us a little bit about your spoiler. Tell us about size and angle. Now, we think it was 60 degrees a year ago. You think it was 65?
I believe it was 65, but I was with the other brand last year, so it was 65 degrees for us as well as I remember. The Chevrolet spoiler this year is 6 inches in height by 57 wide. The Ford is 6.5 inches in height by 57 wide. If we had the same spoiler as a Ford, I'll assure you we'd be a little quicker than what we are.
A little quicker. Are you lobbying here on national television?
Take it ever how you will. Sure enough, we'd like to have that little bit extra spoiler.
Yeah, so tell the fans, obviously, what that spoiler is doing for you. Then obviously it's creating some drag.
Well, here at Indianapolis, it's a give and take situation. If you want a little quicker straightaway speeds, you lay the spoiler back some. Since there is no minimum angle this year, you can lay the spoiler back. But for every bit you lay that thing back on the straightaway to pick up speed, you lose it in the corner. So there's a fine line there to work between getting a good equal balance to run straightaway speeds and have the cornering speed. We came up here and tested for 3 days, and during that test, hopefully we found that right angle that we needed the Chevrolet to be at.
Okay, what is that? You can tell me what that is, can't you, Billy?
We'll talk about it later.
Oh, he's not going to tell us. All right, well, he's got to pick up his notebook and go back to work, and we'll go back to Bob and Ned.
When I came out here for a few days of practice in the last couple of months, the Chevrolet people were really complaining that they thought the Fords were going to beat them.
Well, right now, though, Bob, we have a Chevrolet that's moved to the top of the heap here. Ken Schrader just turned a lap at over 173 miles an hour in the Budweiser Chevrolet, so that would take away part of their argument at the moment, at least.
There's Mark Martin. His lap that he just completed will be coming up here in just a second. We'll tell you what it is. By the way, it's 171.808. His trap speed at the end of the front straightaway there, 192, and the best that we've seen from Schrader and from John Andretti and Ricky Rudd, 193.
And, you know, Bill Engel brought up a good point there. Schrader ran 193 on his top speed. Dale Jarrett ran 190. There's not that much difference in their overall speed around the racetrack. And so Schrader had to give up a little bit in the corners to get that speed down the straightaway, where Jarrett, his car was set up apparently with a lot of spoiler, had a lot of downforce on it, but it let him go through the turns faster. So, you know, it just depends on what you want out of the car. And finding that fine line is the key.
Very consistent trap speeds there in the at the north end of the racetrack, in 3 in the short chute and in turn number 4. Now again, the numbers change from white to black when the next lap is completed. So he slowed down just a little bit there on this particular lap, but still it's going to be a good one. It was 171.370 his most recent lap.
Mark Martin, a very consistent driver. He's currently being shown as the 8th fastest of all those who have been out so far.
So Kenny Schrader is the fastest, followed by Dale Jarrett, Michael Waltrip, Brett Bodine, and Ricky Rudd. Those are the top 5 in speeds in the first 37 minutes of practice for this year's Brickyard 400 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We'll be right back. There's the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Hall of Fame Museum, located in the infield between turns 1 and 2 here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. What a night and what the next few days of coverage we have for you. At 7 o'clock tonight, it's RPM tonight. John Kernan, his studios are located just over to my right. Then at 9:30 Eastern Time, join us at Indianapolis Raceway Park for the DuPont 100 USAC Silver Crown race on ESPN2's Thunder. Tomorrow, Brickyard qualifying at 2 on the Deuce, 3 on the main network. Busch pole qualifying at IRP for the Craftsman truck race at 5 o'clock on the Deuce, and then RPM at 7 o'clock again with John Kernan. Also, NASCAR tonight at 7:30 tomorrow on the Deuce, and the Craftsman trucks will compete in the Cummins 200 at IRP at 8 o'clock tomorrow night on the main network. Now we just jump ahead till Friday, and we have second round qualifying at 2 on the Deuce, 3 on the main network. RPM tonight at 7, Brickyard preview at 7:30 with Benny Parsons and myself on the Deuce. We're not done yet. Speed Week is at 8:30. That'll be done by Dave Despain at IRP as they get set to bring you live coverage of the Kroger 200 Busch Grand National race from Indianapolis Raceway Park. That's at 9 o'clock on Friday. And we also have a pre-race show on Saturday that we're not going to show you graphically, but we are just here with all the coverage you can possibly imagine in the next few days. Here's Jerry Punch.
You guys, we're having some serious fun down here in the garage. Everyone excited to be at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We've got a couple of drivers. We'll talk to Sterling Marlin first. Sterling, you've been out and just ran a few laps. This is a track where speed's critical, and hey, you got Ron Pittman standing up here. You got the horsepower, man.
Well, we've got a new combination, the engine stuff we tried in Michigan worked real well for us, and we tested with old stuff and running real well. So we just did a plug check, run one lap, and gonna get after it here in a minute.
This is the same car you impressed us with back in March, I guess, at Atlanta, when you came from 36th to 3rd in about 45 or 50 laps.
It's been a good car for us. We built it new for Charlotte last fall and led about half the race over there, and went to Atlanta that fall and run second with it to Earnhardt, and went back to Atlanta and run Michigan with it and led about half the race up there. So it's been a good car for us. We just got to get her a win.
Well, let me have the camera tilt over. Look at the side of the car where it says Kodak. Now, folks, when he tested up here, he spun out of turn 4, and when he brought it back in, it just said DAC. The Co was gone. He basically shortened the back of the car by about 3 or 4 feet. It came back in. It was the DAC Chevrolet, not the Kodak Chevrolet. But Sterling, unfortunately, the car's okay. Hey, best of luck to you. We're kidding a little bit. Best of luck to you the rest of the week.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, let's go over here and talk to Schrader. How about that lap, big guy? 192 trap speed, and you're just getting started.
Well, unfortunately, though, everybody's going to get going a lot faster, but that's better than we tested up here, and it was only the 3rd lap out, so we're going to be okay.
Hey, we talked earlier, we talked with Earnhardt a little bit, and he finally confessed this morning in the press conference that the red car that hit him, he thought all along it was Bill Elliott, and you broke the news to it.
Yeah, I give his guys $100 to keep their mouth shut when they figured out it was me instead of Bill. He thought Bill hit him, so, you know, I thought that was looking pretty good for me, but he's hit me enough times. I didn't know he was hurt. I might have not hit him as hard, but, you know, I figured all that smoke, nobody'd see it, just take one last shot at him.
Dale said they asked him how Schrader hit you. He said, I asked Schrader, I said, how'd you hit me? And you said?
I put it in 3rd gear and got a run at him.
Hey, you guys feel comfortable? I mean, it's been a dry spell, and I know this has got to be a good one for you. Coming back in open wheel country where you started.
Well, we're going to try awful hard. You know, I mean, we always do with the Bud team. It's just we've come up short here for way too long. But, you know, this year's been a whole lot better than in years past, and we're excited about it.
Hey, Kenny, best of luck to you.
Thank you, Jerry.
Kenny Schrader, let's check in over where Bill Weber is standing. Bill?
Okay, and I'm here with Bobby Hamilton and its STP Pontiac, which has one of its many paint schemes from this year, celebrating the 25th anniversary of STP. You went out and made a few laps. How was it?
Pretty good. The car that we tested here, we had 2 cars here testing, and we cut a right front tire down and killed a brand new car. But the car that ran the fastest is what we had at Pocono when we got wrecked there, and it ruined it. So we stayed over on Monday and done some tests for NASCAR with our backup car there, and it seemed to run real fast. This is what we brought here, and it drives just like the other, so we're pretty happy.
So you brought a car up here, and it didn't go back with you, huh?
Right, yeah, exactly. It didn't go back. I mean, it was junk. It really hit hard up here, and you don't. This place is so smooth, you don't feel like you're running fast until you hit, and trust me, you hit hard.
Okay, so you guys going to work on it, you'll go back out?
Yeah, we're going to go back out. Just got a little bit of fine-tuning. It wouldn't hurt my feelings if we qualified right now.
Okay, Bobby Hamilton's ready to roll here at the Brickyard.
All right, Bobby Hamilton getting set to go. Nobody is out on the racetrack right now because, once again, we have a yellow situation as the officials check the racetrack. We'll be back with more live from Indianapolis in a moment. The Master Control Tower at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as ESPN2 is live with practice prior to Saturday's Brickyard 400. Busch Pole qualifying tomorrow. We'll have it live on ESPN2 and ESPN. Speaking of poles, here's the guy that won the pole position for the inaugural race 2 years ago, Rick Mast. Today his best is 171.184.
Pontiac this year. Was running a Ford, I believe, the year that he won the pole here.
A lot of rumors about this guy, Ned, as to where he's going to be in 1997.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what does happen with Rick Mast and a number of other drivers too, but certainly his name is right up there near the top as far as the rumors are concerned at this time of the year. But you know, rumors, sometimes they come true and sometimes they don't.
There's Robert Presley, and another guy who's trying to make the field here. He didn't last year, but I'll tell you, this guy's going to give it everything that he can. Do we have a camera lens wide enough? Here's Benny Parsons and A.J. Foyt. Ooh, I shouldn't have said that.
Bob, I don't appreciate that. Do you know what how he just threw it down to me, AJ?
What's that?
Bob Jenkins said, I don't know if we have a camera angle wide enough, a lens wide enough to get AJ and Ben in the same picture. You believe he said that?
I really do. Just tell him to eat his heart out.
Eat your heart out. Hey, he's in a race car. You're sitting over there sweating, Bob. How's it feel to be in a race car again?
Oh, it feels great, especially when I got air conditioning blowing on me and you're right through here.
Hey, that is pretty. Let me get down here when I get some air. That's pretty neat. Why'd you decide to do this, AJ?
Well, you know, last year we missed the race the first day and then rained out qualifying, and I really enjoy Indianapolis here. Indianapolis, what made A.J. Foyt, and I haven't raced with the NASCAR boys in a few years, and they're all good friends of mine. I really enjoy being around them and just have a little fun. It's like going out playing golf.
How old are you, A.J.?
Too damn old.
That's what I thought. I keep telling you you're too old.
Well, you know, I've always said, a friend of mine told me the other day, he said, AJ, when you should worry about your life is when you're young, because there's a lot of things to see. He said, now at your age, you shouldn't give a damn because you've seen about everything. And, yeah, I got to go along with him.
Well, here's a guy who's got a lot to look forward to. He's with Jerry Punch.
And he's still laughing about the comment Bob made a minute ago about the big lens there. We did have a pretty wide-angle lens to get those two guys on. Hey, Jeffrey, A.J. Foyt coming here. When you just mention the name Foyt, it gives you chills when you think about Indianapolis.
Well, I don't think it was actually meant towards the size of those guys. It's the size of what they've done, right? It's
their accomplishments. Yeah, there you go.
Yes, exactly. We covered for him, but you know, A.J. Foyt is man. The things that he's done here at Indianapolis are pretty amazing, and I'm sure he'd love to be here in a stock car right now. But we're having a pretty, you know, interesting, just kind of slow-paced day here. So we're just kind of kick back, make some laps, and we'll have it figured out by tomorrow.
The Lake Speed just set a fastest lap of the day, 173.167. So the speeds are escalating. What do you think? Where's it going to stop? Everyone there, every time they go out, is getting quicker and quicker. You guys tested here a couple of times. What will it take to sit on the front row?
Well, when we tested here, it kept getting faster and faster. And I think a lot of that is just rubber getting on the racetrack, building a groove into the track. And each time we go out, we get a little bit better. And I think, you know, you're gonna see it continue to go, but lower and lower. But I tell you, we're not seeing the speeds that we really thought we'd see. I think the track has slowed down a little bit even from the last time we were here testing. So maybe we keep getting some more rubber down, it'll keep getting faster and faster. So we'll have to see. And until it comes down to crunch time, and that's when everybody tapes up, cools down, and really goes all out. We really don't know how fast we're going to go.
Even with all the testing, Jeff, we're seeing a lot of people slinging springs. Your guys here, Ray Evernham and the crew, changing springs, adjusting the weight on the car. With all the testing, you still have to make those serious adjustments looking for speed. And which way are you going? You trying to soften it and let the car come down a little bit?
Well, here's what's going to happen, Jerry. We're gonna make all these changes, and then because the track's different, and then it's going to come right back, and we're going to make all these changes all over again and come right back to where we started. It's just the track is just loose right now for us, a little bit tight off the corner, but a little bit loose through the corners. And each time I go out, it'll probably just keep getting tighter and tighter, and we'll probably start out with the same setup that we started with, which was the one that we ended with testing.
Our producer, Neil Goldberg, has said, you know, the fans are probably wondering at home, what makes a track different? We tell drivers, say, well, the track was different this morning, it's different this afternoon. For the folks watching, why does a track get different, and how different does it get?
Oh, boy, I wish I knew all those answers. But, you know, the biggest thing is that the weather, you know, when that sun sits on that racetrack day in and day out, and if there aren't race cars burning rubber and putting rubber down into the race surface, the surface just gets green. And then when we come, we start washing away all the dust and the dirt or whatever's laying on that surface. And then also as that sun goes away, the track temperature gets cooler. So rubber and the cooling of the race surface just continues to make the track have more grip and faster speeds.
Still dream about what happened here 2 years ago?
Oh, I'll never stop dreaming about that. That was a dream come true. And, you know, it's like it's hard to imagine, you know, that we actually won this event, the inaugural event. But right now, you know, we're in a whole nother season, a whole nother year, and it's a whole new race, and we're trying to do it again.
You know, Jeff, I come here in the month of May and I come back in August, and there are so many youngsters running around. Youngsters, I'm talking about young guys, 18, 19 years old, who are driving the midgets and the sprints and the Silver Crown saying, I want to be the next Jeff Gordon. You are a hero to so many young drivers.
Well, you know, I'm just glad that, you know, I think I opened up some doors for a lot of young guys out there, and these young guys that are coming in now are just going to open more and more doors for the open wheel, for the dirt track racers that are out there. You know, there is an opportunity, whether it's NASCAR Winston Cup Racing or IRL. You know, I think that both those series right now offer a lot for an oval track racer, a guy that's been cutting his teeth on the short tracks. And, you know, I was lucky to get an opportunity here, and if I could help some other guys get an opportunity, then that's, you know, that's something that I'll be proud of.
Hey, thanks a lot, champ, and good luck to you this week. The defending Winston Cup champion, Bob, Jeff Gordon.
Jeff Gordon leads all drivers in wins with 6 this year, 14 top 10s, most laps led, most lap leader bonus points, and has already won $1.5 million in NASCAR Winston Cup competition in 1996. Lake Speed, Ned, is still the quickest at 173.167.
Yeah, he just moved to the top of the leaderboard. Schrader moved down to second, and Jeremy Mayfield now has gotten among the top. He has moved up into the 3rd position. So you can see the speeds are beginning to pick up as the drivers go out for the 2nd time.
And Benny, there's only one Chevy in the top 10, and that's Schrader, who's 2nd.
You know, all the Chevrolet teams are talking about what kind of an advantage the Fords are going to have, but you talked about Jeff Gordon has won, what'd you say, $1.5 million this year so far?
Yep.
I read in the newspaper this morning an astounding fact that Jeff Gordon, in his career, Winston Cup career, which is what, 4 years old, has won $8.5 million. And he is in the top 10 money earners in all-time NASCAR history.
Wow.
And he's been doing it for 4 years. Unbelievable the success that this young man has had.
Wally Dallenbach Jr. has not won quite that much money probably in his career, but maybe someday, huh, Wally? Huh?
We're working on it.
Here's a driver of the Hayes Modem Ford, the Bud Moore-owned car, number 15, Wally Dallenbach Jr., who has to have something special inside of him when he comes to Indianapolis, because your dad drove here for many, many years, and coming back here, I'm sure, is quite special to you.
Oh, it is. We spent a lot of months in May here at the Speedway, and grew up around this racetrack, and it's fortunately the Winston Cup cars are running here. I didn't think I'd get to race at this racetrack when I decided to go Winston Cup racing. And when they said they were going to go Winston Cup racing here, I was probably the most excited guy here.
Do you remember the first time you came here?
I believe the first time we came here was in '68 or '69, yeah. And yeah, I do remember that. I remember just about every year. I remember every car my dad drove, and place is a lot different, especially the garage area when we were here, but nothing else has much changed.
Before you came into Winston Cup racing, of course, your background had been primarily road racing. Are the characteristics of this racetrack that remind you of road racing?
I think they are, because basically most of the road course tracks we race on are fast corners, but they're flat, and that's very similar to this racetrack. You carry in a lot of speed, and these corners are flat. There's no banking to hold the car in, so it really does give you an idea that it's type of a road course, but it's also very narrow, and it gives you, it even seems narrower when those grandstands get filled and you drive down into turn 1, and turn 1 becomes a very small hole you're driving down into.
Hard to believe that. Now, I believe I read where the IndyCar drivers are able to drive their cars wide open without decelerating on this racetrack, that you could get that much downforce.
Yeah, they do. The Indy cars do have an incredible amount of downforce, and it's mind-boggling how fast they get around this racetrack.
Of course, you got a car that's sitting pretty far up in the air too, and that makes a lot of difference.
Yeah, and a whole lot less rubber on the ground and a whole lot more weight, but they're fun to drive. I think it doesn't matter whether you're in an Indy car pushing the edge or you're in a stock car. It's still just as scary when you're right there on the edge.
Had a pretty good run last week at Talladega. Have a good one on Saturday.
Thank you.
All right. Wally Dallenbach Jr. joining us here in our little broadcast area, back in the garage area at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Now we're going to update you on the speeds once again before we take a quick break. And it is Lake Speed who is at the top of the chart, 173.1. Sterling Marlin has moved to 6th quickest with a lap of 172.028. Back in a moment. Bob Jenkins, Ned Jarrett, Benny Parsons, Bill Weber, and Dr. Jerry Punch back with you at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as ESPN and ESPN2 cover practice and qualifying for the Brickyard 400. Quick shot of Brett Bodine there. He comes off the racetrack. Kenny Wallace stays out there.
Kenny in the TIC Square D Ford, number 81. He's a good qualifier. He's had some good runs this year.
Our fastest car is Lake Speed at 173.167. Let's hear from him, Jerry.
Well, Lake Speed just climbing out of the Spam Ford Thunderbird, and Lake a big smile, and rightfully so. You guys are flying.
Well, the car's really good. I've been telling you guys the last several weeks that y'all are just now starting to notice this, but the Spam Melon Ford has been running fast like this all year long. We've just been eating up with problems, just, you know, bad luck, misfortune, just like last weekend at Talladega. We really had an awesome car there. We're trying to be careful, laying back, trying to stay out of the way, waiting until that last 20-30 minutes to race, and then go after them. And you saw us go straight to the front, and then we got involved in a wreck. But these guys are putting a super car under me. Peter Guy's doing a great job with the engines, and Jim Long with the crew. You know, what can I say? They're giving us good race cars, and we're having a lot of fun.
Lake, let's take a look inside the front of the car here, and to tell us as we pan over to the right, it looks like a NASA space capsule. Everything is wrapped and tie wrapped and insulated. All the silver there, is that purely for heat?
Yeah, most everybody is starting to do things to try to get the heat down underneath the hood. The cooler the air that you get to the engine, the better it runs, you know. So they try to, anything that produces heat, they try to capture it or seal it off or something to keep it away from the airstream that goes to the carburetor.
Well, the competitors will be trying to cool Lake Speed off because he certainly is among the quickest here. He's the hottest thing right now at this racetrack. Let's check in with Bill Weber.
Rick Mast is a former pole winner here. Did a commercial shoot all day yesterday in San Diego, then flew here overnight. Got here about 6 in the morning. How you running?
My body, I'm running on about 2 hours sleep, Bill. I'm not real witty. I'm not my normal chipper self today. Yeah. So, but the car's doing good. Yeah, it's doing good.
You sure?
I think so. You know what I mean? I got to think about it a little bit, then I yawn a little bit, wake up a little bit. But no, we were here a couple weeks ago testing the car. I was tickled to death with it, at least for race type setup. The qualifying type deal, you know, it wasn't quite, you know, we weren't quite exactly what we wanted, and that's what we're going to spend the day doing, try some dummy qualifying runs. Not full-blown runs, but put some tape on it, you know, and work with the chassis a little bit. Try to get a good run in tomorrow. Saturday, that's what I'm after, Saturday.
That's the big one. Hey, after this week, can you just briefly look ahead to next year for us? You made some plans yet?
No, everything's still up in there. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things going on in the garage here right now, and a lot of things shuffling around, and you know, people looking for sponsors. Richard's still looking for something with this team, and you know, we just don't know right now what's going to happen.
Okay, his name's on a lot of lists. Rick Mast looking for a good run here on Saturday.
He was last year's 8th place finisher here at the Brickyard 400, Rick Mast. Lake Speed still is at the top of the practice chart here as we've completed the first hour. We'll take a break and be right back with more from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Beautiful, sunny, warm, but not too hot. Nice breeze. Beautiful day in Indianapolis, Indiana, unlike last year. ESPN presents a baseball doubleheader tomorrow, starting at 7:30. The battle of the first place teams as the Yankees on top of the AL East and the Rangers on top of the AL West go at it. Then at 10:30, the defending world champion Braves take on the Padres, who moved into first place in the National League Central. Baseball, 7:30 tomorrow night, a big doubleheader on ESPN. And the 3-car, Mike Skinner, is on the racetrack. The car that is being tested here in practice today by Mike Skinner in preparation for Dale Earnhardt's qualification run tomorrow. We'll see what kind of speed he is achieving as we put up our graphic map and show you the speed that he achieves at 6 different locations on the racetrack.
Pretty good speed as it went into turn 1, 191 miles an hour. That ranks up there. The fastest we've seen is 193. Ken Schrader and Jeremy Mayfield. A couple of other drivers, Michael Waltrip, also went at 193. Michael's moved up to 5th place in the standings here as far as practice speeds are concerned.
Mike Skinner, of course, will also be competing in the Craftsman Truck Series race at Indianapolis Raceway Park tomorrow night. And then we'll be standing by for Dale Earnhardt in case he needs relief on Saturday. Let's see if he can increase the speed here from his previous lap.
Yes, he did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he picked it up.
Couple of miles an hour.
He goes over 191 this time. Oh, a little bit slower that time.
And overall, Ned, it was a 167.616 mile an hour lap for Mike Skinner.
That's about 5.5 miles an hour off the pace of the fastest ones. But bear in mind, he's got to be taking it easy. He's not going to get out there and just go all out. We have a red flag being flown on the speedway right now, but he wants to be careful not to wreck that race car.
Jeremy Mayfield, we understand, is third quick at 172.894. Good run by Jeremy, BP.
Yeah, Bob, this is the guy that hauls around Nipper and Chipper. Hey, I want to know, did you scare those guys down at Talladega coming off turn 4?
A little bit. I know Chipper didn't know what to think. He turned around, wouldn't even look at me the rest of the day.
How bad you tear the car up at Talladega?
It wasn't too bad. We just knocked the nose in. Really, we thought we had it saved and just got into Ricky Rudd just enough to bend the nose up. You know what that does to you at Talladega.
Third quick. How's the racetrack?
Pretty slick right now. You know, we tested here and run pretty good, but we felt like we had a better car when we came back, and we're not going as fast for some reason, but I think a lot of the guys are having trouble just sliding around and a little bit loose right now.
What are you doing to fix that problem?
Well, we're going to kind of let it settle in for a little bit and let the racetrack get some rubber on, and then we're going to tighten the car up just a little bit for us, see what happens.
And he won the pole position last Thursday in Talladega, going for 2 in a row. Good luck.
Thank you. Well,
Bob.
So Jeremy Mayfield awaits to go back out onto the racetrack, and so does everybody else, because we are red. Some debris is spotted on the backstretch here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, halting the practice for the Brickyard 400. Johnny Benson is awaiting us to talk to him. We'll have that when we come back. There's a shot of the suites on the outside of turn number 2 here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and as you can see, the track has gone green once again as the debris that was on the backstretch has been picked up, and the cars are back onto the racetrack. There's the number 95 car of Gary Bradbury, and Jerry Punch is standing by with Johnny Benson.
Well, Bob, a year ago, this driver wasn't at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. He was across town, where we'll be off and on this week at Indianapolis Raceway Park, preparing to run for the Busch car for the championship. And, Johnny, that all turned out well for you as a national champion. But now, this track, totally different.
Oh, it sure is. Man, what a difference. And, you know, we had a good year last year with the lifted T car over there at IRP. And I tell you, we're hoping we can have the same deal over here at the Brickyard.
Who have you talked to among the veterans and the guys that have been around here that think the world of you as far as a young talent coming up? Who have you gone to for advice, and what have they told you about this racetrack?
Well, really the only one I've talked to so far is Rick Mass. You know, we did come down and do a little testing here for a day or two, and he was here because of the other Pontiacs were here, and he helped me out. He jumped in the car and took a couple laps to see if I was feeling what I need to feel, and he really helped me out a bunch. And you know, there's some little tricks to this place. He's been on pole here before, so I figured it'd be a good guy to ask.
Well, we just saw a lap a moment ago, Morgan Shepherd, 4th quickest, and so the speed continues to escalate. I know you guys have only been out for a couple laps. Are you comfortable in testing and thus far in the car here?
Yeah, we did have a different car here for testing. We thought that we needed this a little bit more, so we thought, hey, let's bring that car we ran so well at Loudon and Pocono with. So that's the car we have here this weekend. We only got 2 laps on us around Perry. Can do a good plug check and get that engine running good. And, you know, Doug Hewitt's changed some springs right now.
Johnny, behind us, they had scales under the car, and they've been measuring. And folks, they take a tape measure, Johnny, and you can explain to folks. They measure the distance between the top of the tire and the fender, from the top of the tire around part of the fender. They're measuring all different elements here, trying everything was within a tenth of an inch possibly.
Yeah, there's no doubt. We did change front springs, and usually what they do is they try to hook it on the rim and measure to the fender, and it's 2 pretty solid areas, so anytime that we move the car up or down, they can make that correction with changing the springs. So, and then the scales, it just makes it that much more closer. So hopefully Doug did his homework here and make it an easier job for me today.
Well, Kenny Schrader, your buddy, just set the fastest speed. He went back out in the Budweiser Chevy, so get in this Pontiac and go out and chase him. Good luck to you.
Yeah, thank you, Jerry.
Johnny Benson getting set to go out and maybe get some hot laps finally after getting a plug check here, Bob. And this young man eager to be the first rookie to win the Brickyard 400.
Dick Trickle is out on the racetrack, Doc, and he's running a lap at 169. Now, we had a shot there of Wally Dolleback just a few moments ago, and his best lap was 170.474. Let's see what Dick Trickle can do and how his speeds this time compare with last. Couple of miles an hour faster there in the North Short Chute.
Yes, looking good through the, as you say, the short chute. Picked up a couple of miles an hour there. Let's see what it does now as he gets down to the trap speed as his top speed, 192, which is good. Last time around, still the same.
And the overall was 170.303 for Dick Trickle in the Heilig Myers, number 90.
Slowing down a little bit this time. Each of those first three graphics, excepting the first one, are a little bit slower than the time before. Let's see what he goes there, still the same. And he slows it down and head into the pit area.
Well, Bill Weber is going to talk with Michael Waltrip when we come back, and BP promises some technical information for us, so I'll be sure to get my notebook and pen in hand for that. But let's first take a break from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway practice for the Brickyard. A new tradition begins as the green flag is about to come out to signal the beginning of the inaugural Brickyard 400. And the green is out.
Oh, here we go. Ernie Smith going in one. Ernie Smith and Jeff Gordon gets alongside.
That wasn't on orders from the crew. That was because Ernie missed the entrance to turn one, and Jeff saw it and immediately went for the hole.
Something's wrong with Ernie. Something has happened to the 28 car, Bob.
Urban slows down and is going to lose second position.
A tire. He's got a tire going down.
And Jeff Gordon is about to write his name in the racing history books. Years from today, when 79 stock car races have been run here, we'll remember the name. Jeff Gordon, winner of the inaugural Brickyard 400.
Does beat Ford Burton down in the corner.
I thought I saw some smoke, Benny. I think they touched. Ford Burton and Dale Earnhardt. Dale Earnhardt enters the straightaway and looks for the checkered flag this time. And he sees it. Dale Earnhardt has won the second Brickyard 400. I still get goosebumps watching and listening to that. Isn't just another race.
No, it's not just another race, no doubt.
Well, the practice continues here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and Ken Schrader has the fastest speed of the day, 173.284 miles an hour. A total of 46 cars have been on the racetrack. There are 48 that drew for a qualification attempt tomorrow. Now, there is a hard-working young man, I'm telling you.
Michael Waltrip. Yeah, he's got his name up on the leaderboard there. He's currently about the 7th fastest.
Suppose we could interrupt him and talk to him, Bill? If he's busy, though.
Well, I don't know. Let's see. He's not that far from home in Owensboro, Kentucky. Wait a minute. This is the updates book. This is for the media only. What are you doing reading this thing?
I'm just saying how much money I made. Yeah. I made $5 million in my career, and I have no idea where any of it is.
Well, some probably went into those pretty chic-looking sunglasses you're wearing, I'm sure.
Oh, yes. And this will also help get more, too. In some way or another.
Hey, you had a pretty good run, huh?
Yeah, the car's great. We tested up here and really flew when we tested. Had one of the top 3 or 4 times. And first time out on the track, we ran a good competitive speed in the Citgo Ford Thunderbird. So I'm looking forward to this weekend. We had a bad week last week. Finished dead last and hadn't done that in a while. And Howood Brothers team's real pumped up about trying to get the Citgo car back up front.
Okay, so you're comfortable sitting here right now, huh?
Yeah, I just had a bologna sandwich. Fed myself. My mama's going to be real proud of me. I didn't have to count on Buffy to do it for me. And just sitting here hanging out, building a shot and getting ready to throw it on the car and go run some more and see what happens.
Okay, here's your book back, and we'll go to Benny. We'll see you later, Michael.
Okay, tell Benny I said hi. I hadn't seen him in a while. Hi, Ben, if you're listening.
Hey, Michael.
You're staying in Indy.
Hey, Bill.
Yeah, I can relay this.
Tell Michael that I've been with him a couple of times. I know where some of that money went.
Benny says he's been with you a couple of times, and he knows where some of that money went.
I'll reserve comment. I was talking about my mom and having a good time over here, Benny, and you had to turn it ugly. Not too proud of you.
Oh, hey, Michael. Folks, when we talk to we go down to the pit sometimes, we talk to the crew chief, and they say, what happened to the car? Well, we don't have enough gear, or we got too much gear. Here's what we're talking about. This is a gear. This is out of the back of the 33 car, Robert Preston's SCO Chevrolet. And when they talk about not having too much, let me turn this thing around, and they're talking about the ratio. Can you see that? That says 3.60. This is a 360 gear. In other words, the engine turns 3.60 times every time the rear wheels turns once. Well, Andy Feature said, we don't have enough gear. I said, what do you put in it? He said a 3.64. That's all they're talking about changing is 0.04 of 1 point. That is so minute, but it is. But again, it's 100 RPMs, and that might make the difference of being on the pole or being fifth.
Well, we come to Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and you would expect to see an Andretti, and we certainly have found one, John Andretti. And John, lots of memories here, even prior to the stock cars coming. You had some pretty good runs here in the IndyCar ranks.
We did. Unfortunately, we had the Andretti luck too, I think, in some cases. And in '92, you know, it was real unfortunate. My cousin Jeff got hurt, and Mary got hurt, and Michael broke towards the end, and I missed my pit, which cost us the race. And you know, we finished 8th, but you know, when you come to Indy, you need to win this one, and whether it's an Indy car or stock car. So I hope I can represent the family well here.
Hey, in May, all we talked about, you were the big story. I mean, you were down in Charlotte minding your own business, driving the Kmart Little Caesars Ford for Michael Kranifus and Carl Haas, and suddenly everyone starts talking, John Andretti's going to drive my backup car. John, and did people call you? I mean, they were really serious about trying to get you up here.
Well, you know, a lot of things were happening during the month of May, and I obviously have a big interest in the Indy 500. And so, yeah, I mean, a lot of things were going on then, and you know, had to concentrate on what I was doing down there, and that's what I did. And who knows, but the Indy 500 is always in the back of my mind.
Hey, what about Talladega? Let's talk for a moment. You're okay. Thankfully, we saw a couple of horrendous crashes of which you were involved in one.
Yeah, the second, or the big middle one, and you know, is the one that I started that one when I lost the back end of our car, and unfortunately some guys got tangled up in it, and I felt bad. I do feel really bad about it. I was glad I wasn't in the last one there. I mean, I'd hate to, you know, if you can hurt a guy like Earnhardt, man, you can bend steel with your fist, because that guy's tough. And so you know, we're glad to see that everybody came out of there pretty much okay, and hope that Dale can, you know, get well real soon and get back, because obviously, I mean, that's the guy we're all shooting to beat.
Yeah, the trauma doctor was surprised when they got him to the hospital and took his clothes off, and there wasn't a big S on his chest. They were very, very surprised when they saw that he could actually be hurt. But on a more serious note, this racetrack, your experience in the past, having run here twice now on stock cars, does it help you? I mean, the fact that they've changed the track now a little bit and taken the ripple strips away?
Well, it helps the stock cars, I think, quite a lot, because, you know, you don't always end up where you want to end up with these big things. You go in the corner, and it's sort of like, it's not total guesswork, and you try to take most of the guesswork out, but it's still not as nimble as an Indy car. And so you need that extra space, because then you don't have to say, well, you know, I mean, I didn't intend to run over the rumble strips. Now you can just go down there and say, yeah, that's where I want it to be. So if you get down the grass, though, it might be obvious that, you know, you cut it a little bit too close, but I think it's going to be better racing for us in stock cars. It makes the track a little bit wider, and maybe when it gets a little bit slick, you can move around a little bit.
Hey, how about changing some of that Andretti luck for us? Have a good week here, will you?
Well, I'd love to. Thanks.
John Andretti, Bob.
Jeff Gordon just came off the track after turning a 171.923. That doesn't even get him in the top 10. A Ken Schrader lap of 173.284 is the fastest so far. There are the top 10 with about an hour and 20 minutes of practice having occurred here. When we come back, the owner of the 28 and the 8, Robert Yates, will join us at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. No rain in the forecast here in Indianapolis for the next few days through the weekend. And there is the skyline of the great city of Indianapolis. Now join the Deuce Saturday at 8 o'clock Eastern for Arena Football game of the week. It's Florida against St. Louis. That's at 8 o'clock Eastern time on the Deuce Saturday night. We're covering the first day of practice here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for you. Rusty Wallace is on the racetrack. His best lap of 172.087. And as I promised, we have the owner of the 28, and I left off a number, the 88, not the 8, the Ernie Irvin and Dale Jarrett machines. Robert Yates joining us here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Good to have you with us.
Thank you, Bob.
You must shop for your clothing at ESPN, huh?
Well, I wanted to look like you guys. Maybe they wouldn't ask me anything.
You fit right in. All right, Ernie's got a 171.779 lap, and Dale just a little bit better than that, 172.463. So things were pretty good here in the early going, huh?
Well, you know, we were a little bit disappointed. We were last week of testing, and we weren't quite as fast as the guys that were first here. Hopefully that sealer, whatever it did, it actually slowed the cars down a little bit, because we were concerned that we would, you know, we're way out of the hunt. But the guys that were here that day weren't too bad, and it looked like the day we're about where we, you know, we want to be better, but we're about what we expected.
And you mentioned the sealer. A number of the drivers have said the track has changed, so that's what has happened since the testing?
Well, you know, without changing the tires a lot or changing the weight of the cars, and they were jerking the track up, obviously something stopped from pulling the right. You know, the best corner is probably right at pulling the track up. So we didn't pull the track up, and we couldn't stick good enough to. So with the same tires, obviously it changed a little bit.
Is there anything to this Ford and Chevy controversy that's going on, with the Chevy guy saying Ford has a distinct advantage with the spoiler rules?
Well, you know, we still feel like that we're coming up short with all the wind tunnel testing, the downforce testing, and the dynamometer testing. We certainly don't have a distinct advantage. It still looks disadvantaged. Obviously, we'd like for life to be easier and the competition not to be so keen, but you know, I still look, I mean, if you just look back through the races from the time they changed the deal at Charlotte, it's been maybe a little one-sided Ford, sometimes one-sided Chevrolet. You'd have to watch more racing, I believe, before you made another change.
Robert, you've been known as the king of horsepower over the years, ranked right up there with everybody as far as building horsepower into engines. How important is that here? Is it more important than the chassis of a race car, or how does that work?
You know, you want to be with a car that's really handling well, because it'll make your engine really look good. It takes everything here. You've got to have good power, good handling, and an engine that will run at a lot of RPM because of the span that you have to use. So it taxes really hard on every part of it. It's one of our toughest races. It's also one of the best visibility, and one we all want to win, and it pays good money.
And you talk about the span of using, you're talking about the RPMs from the low point to the high point?
Yes, so, you know, because, you know, you have to pull a gear almost like we used to run at Daytona, and but yet you have to turn, you know, getting up to 9,000 RPM, and it just really levels out, because you're up against, you have to put some aero drag in it to have traction. So your engine is not changing speed, you know, very much at the end of the straightaway. And valve springs start to harmonic, and valves can't decide which way they're going, and so you have to, you know, really have a valve train that'll live, but it's got to make power, and the faster you move the valve, the more power you make. So it's you know, you have to just be right on in every aspect of it.
I'm sure there are a lot of fans out there that think that you run the same engine at every racetrack, but it's far from that.
I'll tell you what, we've had our plans on this engine package for this place, been working on it, probably been in the works for 6 months.
And just to put the rumors to rest, both drivers back for 97?
Well, I've always, yes, contractually we've agreed to do that, and attractionally, I think we have that in order. And that's really the most important one, is make them attracted to that, make them have a good seat they don't want to get out of, and we all sleep good at night.
All right, Robert Yates, thanks for joining us. And there's a lot going on the racetrack and in the garage area. There are engine changes and all kinds of things going on. We'll take a sweep through the garage area when we return to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and we're watching Ernie Irvan on the racetrack. 172.961 has put him 4th fastest on the day, Ned, and if he stays on it here, I don't think he is, though. Nope, he's dropping down and will come off the track, but good lap for Ernie Irvan. Benny, where are you and what are you doing?
Well, I'm standing in Morgan Shepherd's Remington Arms garage area talking to the 6th fastest car. I beg your pardon. Good run, Morgan.
Well, pretty good. You know, we come up here and tested, and we was the fastest car during that test, and we're working on to make it faster now.
I mean, you've been thinking about the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for a long, long time. What kind of thrill is to come up here to this track?
Well, you know, for all the history that this track has got behind it, and, you know, this is really a perfect racetrack for these race cars. It's just a thrill for us to get to come here and run. I mean, it's a great honor.
Hey, you guys, I want to show you something. You talk about a technical piece. See that toolbox over there? Let me show you what's in that toolbox. Check this out, a computer screen with the entire rundown of all the cars that have been on the racetrack. Schrader, Speed, Mayfield, Labonte, Shepard. They've still got Morgan Shepard in 5th spot. You guys got some later information. We see Greg Sachs back in 22nd, who had the fastest time. So these fellas, they want to know who's running fast. They just walk over to the toolbox. One other thing while we got you here. You know, they talk about a qualifying run and taping the car up. Here's where they put the tape. In the front of the car, this is a grill opening, and this is a grill opening. For a qualifying run, this is all the opening they're going to have on the, this is absolutely all the front opening they're going to have on the front of this Ford Thunderbird. So that's all the air going in. That's the kind of spoiler they got in the back. Let's see. Morgan, have you laid the rear spoiler back any?
No. We did during tests, but it seems to run a little better with it up.
Why is that? Because you're able to get in the corner a little bit better?
Yeah, we just blocked the front end off real solid so we can get all the downforce out of it. So then we got to keep the spoiler up there to keep the downforce on the rear of the car.
All right, put all the tape on the front of the car, then they got to stand the spoiler up in the rear to make sure they get the car balanced. Bob?
Benny, that thing, he's showing a trap speed of 197 miles an hour, which is 4 miles an hour faster than anyone else. And I wondered about that spoiler myself, to get him that speed down the straightaway. He must have an awesome engine under the hood then if he's pulling a stand-up spoiler and running 197 miles an hour down the straightaway.
Well, Ned, you know, this is a Peter Guile engine, Pro Motor down in Mooresville, North Carolina. That's the 10 car, the 75 car, the 9 car. Those guys do make some horsepower.
Well, speaking of engines, there is an engine change underway, and we're going to get the story on that in just a moment. Stay with us for more live coverage from Indianapolis. Hud Strickland is practicing for Saturday's Brickyard 400 here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. A new top speed has just been achieved by the 94 pole sitter Rick Mast, a lap of 174.250. His engine is performing well. Bill, we got an engine change going on where you are, huh?
We sure do. We're back here at the 12 car. Derek Cope's team is making, they've got one motor on the ground and another one in the car, and Derek's going to come over and tell what's going on over here. You guys working pretty hard.
Well, yeah, we broke our qualifying motor out of the Badcock Pilot Ford, so right now we're sticking another bullet in the chamber and see if we can't get back out for some more practice.
That's a tough situation, isn't it?
Well, it is. You know, that was our qualifying motor. You know, it's the one we felt like we had a shot at the pole with. But you know, we'll put another motor in now, and we'll see what it unfolds out here this afternoon and get a feel for what we can do tomorrow.
Now, for the fans, you guys have probably dynoed that one. You know exactly what you're going to get out of that one as well.
Yes, we know exactly what this motor's got for horsepower and torque numbers, and you know, in comparison to what we had, and you know, we'll go out and see if we can't make up for a little bit in the car, and you know, we'll know what we got by the end of the day.
And try and get out here shortly.
Oh, definitely.
Okay, how's your dad?
He's doing good, thanks. I appreciate that.
Okay, his dad had a little bypass surgery last week out in Washington, but he's doing better. Let's go back to Bob and Ned.
Can you relate to that, Jeff Bodine, losing your best engine the day before qualifying?
My best engine's still sitting on a garage floor. We haven't put it in. We didn't want to wear it out. Maybe Derek wore his out a little too quick, but yeah, that's kind of like ripped your insides out when you know that thing has a little more horsepower, a little more torque, but we're saving ours, and that's why our speed's a little slow right now. Our straightaway speed's down a little bit, and we're just feeling the thing out in the corners, getting it to drive good and get the most out of it there. Tomorrow morning we'll have that, what do you say, another bull in the pin?
Something like that, yeah.
We'll put the meanest bull we got in our pin and see what we come up with for qualifying.
Are you happy with the way the car is driving?
We came here and tested, Ned, and the track has changed. They put a little sealer down. It's changed weather about the same as when we tested, and our speeds are about the same for this engine. And feel-wise through the corners, the car feels really, really good. We haven't gotten the data back from the corner speeds exactly yet, but feel-wise, it feels great. So yeah, I'm real happy with the QVC Ford. But it's really kind of frustrating not to have your best bull in there so you can go fast today, and these other guys are going really fast. Rick Mast must have forgot he doesn't have Hoosiers on because he's going real fast like he did a couple of years ago with those Hoosiers.
Speaking of the corners, they got rid of the rumble strips to the left of the white line. Does that help? Does it hurt? Does that attribute, or does it attribute to the increase in the speeds?
Well, it will. It'll give a little more speed now. Well, you can see right there, Wally got down on that white line. You couldn't do that before. You couldn't get that close or you'd hit those bumps, and it just gives you a little better angle through the corner. just let you go through there a little faster. I'm not saying we need to go faster, but by taking them out and letting us run down a little lower, it does give us more speed.
Well, we'll be expecting great things from the QVC Ford on Saturday, and tomorrow also. We'll be watching you also.
You got it. Thanks.
All right,
yeah.
Jeff Bodine. All right, let's take a break again and come back with more live coverage of the practice period. Rick Mast once again has the top speed, 174.250. Practice continues here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for Saturday's Brickyard 400. Later tonight on ESPN2, the Thunder is at Indianapolis Raceway Park. The USAC Silver Crown Series, the DuPont 100 at 9:30 Eastern Time. They have a repeat winner award at IRP. And if Mike Bliss can win tonight's race, he won the Silver Crown race there in May, he pockets an extra $10,000. But all the stars of the Silver Crown Series will be at IRP at 9:30 tonight here on the Deuce. From Silver Crown to Silver Shoes, Dr. Jerry Punch.
How about that, guys? Who else would have the silver shoes but the silver-tongued devil himself, Darrell Waltrip and Darrell DW? Hey, first of all, congratulations on that first top 10 of the year last week at Talladega.
I can't believe it's our first one, but it is, and it felt good. Had a great car. We qualified well. Actually had a good car at Daytona, qualified 4th down there, and missed his setup a little, and then the rain came. We never got going good, but Talladega was good to us, and I was in the right place all day at the right time, and that really paid off, as obvious.
We heard your secret, though. It's out around the garage area. You drove with ladies' sunglasses on last week.
Well, when the sun came back, you know, when it finally came out, third turn was blind. You couldn't see anything, and I had a clear shield on. And I said, I need some sunglass tape or something. So Stevie was the only one that had glasses. So I wore hers a while. And then I wore Big Greg's a while. And then I wore Jeff's a while. I think I had about 3 or 4 different pair on. But it got me through anyway.
How about these shoes now? We saw what happened a couple nights ago in the Olympics. And Michael Johnson brought out the gold shoes and just blew them away. He said the shoes are the secret to the gold. That's my speed. Is that your secret?
Well, of course, I've had these shoes for a while. And I knew sooner or later people would start copying me. It's all in the shoes. Everything's in the shoes. You get on the right shoes, you're going to go fast. You think about, you walk up to a guy and you look him over and he got on a nice suit, and you look and see he got on nice shoes. I mean, that makes a statement. And I'm glad people are starting to see the light and follow a real trend here.
Speaking of trends, we're talking about speed on the racetrack. I know that you're not quite at the speed where you'd like to be, but I can tell you what the problem is from right here. The front of your car is being attacked by an octopus. What is that?
Well, see, a lot of guys, again, we're trying to set a trend here. A lot of guys blow air into the radiator to cool the engines off. That's what they're trying to do. We suck air out of our radiator. I mean, the radiator's got hot air in it, so we're trying to suck all of it out. So this is reverse suckology. Reverse
suckology. Well, let me see what we're talking about here, DW. Hey, good luck in practicing on Saturday. Folks,
or so they won't suck them into the thing there.
Let's show how they make these. This is the reverse suckology here. These 4 tubes, that octopus I was talking about, sucking air out of the radiator through a motor back here. And folks, in IndyCar racing here, they make fine adjustments with calipers. Let me show you the fine tools we use in stock car racing. How about that baby, that hammer? And take a look at this tiny little adjustable wrench here. Folks, you could build a bridge with this thing. I don't know what DW's doing with this, but folks, they're working hard here in the Parts America pits. Bob?
And working hard on the racetrack is Morgan Shepherd. We had a shot of him just a second ago. He's second fast at this point, 173.963. When we come back, we'll talk with the guy who is fastest to this point, Rick Mast. High-level conference underway in the Richard Childress garage, trying to figure out how to get around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway quicker than anybody else. Mike Skinner listening. Now the fastest so far is standing by with Bill Weber.
And we talked to Rick Mast about 25 minutes ago. He went and had a piece of chicken for lunch, went back out on the track, and you are the fastest guy.
Yeah, well, we're working on it. You know what I mean? We got a ways to go. I tell you, the track's a lot slicker than it's been. You know, we were up here testing a while back. You know, some guys posted some mighty fast times, and here today, I don't think we're going to get that fast again. You know, for whatever reason, the track's a lot slicker. If it's the sun or they put a concrete sand mixture down on the racetrack in some places where it was coming apart. They got that down good. I don't know if that's making it a little slicker or whatever, but you know, if I can get in the top 10 qualifying, I'll be happy. Because like I said, Saturday's what I'm after.
Yeah, how much faster? Darrell was aiming at us there. How much faster you think, Rick?
Then what? What are you talking about, Bill?
Than you are right now.
How much faster can they go?
Yeah.
I don't have.
You're 174 and change.
I don't know. Maybe 176.
Okay. 176.
175.
Okay, go back to work. Rick Mast, that's a hedge. I would call that a professional hedge.
Maybe 174. Maybe he's going to sit on the pole for the second time in 3 years. Who knows? We will know tomorrow as the activity continues here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. They've drawn for qualifying positions, by the way. Rick Mast will go out 7th tomorrow. Jimmy Spencer is scheduled to go out first tomorrow in qualifying. Jimmy Spencer on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for some practice just turned a lap at 169.904. He will be the first out when they begin qualifying tomorrow, or is scheduled to be the first out, and he's using every inch of the racetrack now.
He really is. Jimmy Spencer will push the button, no doubt about it. He might have got in a little bit hard or got off a little bit hard, almost hit the wall, but he's had a good run last week at Talladega, finished 5th.
Let's take a look at it again. He's coming through the corner, drifting. Oh, the car's way out of the groove.
Back end got way up there, but I believe he did save it from hitting the wall.
Well, we'll be here tomorrow as they run for the pole at the Brickyard 400. It starts on the Deuce at 2 o'clock, and then we'll switch over to the main network at 3 o'clock, and also on Friday, same drill, ESPN2 at 2 o'clock. And ESPN Classic at 3 o'clock. Those times are Eastern. BP is with Mike Skinner.
Well, that's exactly right. He's the #1 NASCAR truck driver. But today he's driving a Chevrolet Monte Carlo Goodwrench Chevrolet #3. How's it going, Mike?
Going pretty good. Really is. You know, we're just creeping up on the speed and just taking what we can. You know, the laps are not as fast as we'd really like them, but we don't have a qualifying motor, nothing in the car right now. We're just creeping up on this thing, getting me a few laps here so we can get comfortable.
A moment ago when you got out the race car, you went over and you talked to the crew, and then you put on a radio and was talking to someone. Who were you talking to?
Talking to Dale.
Oh, yeah, what was he telling you?
He's tutoring me.
He's tutoring you. 169.3. How fast do you think you... It really doesn't matter where you qualify because the car's got to go to the rear of the field anyway, right?
Well, if Dale qualifies it and starts it, I don't think it has to go to the rear of the field. You know, the car's got a lot more than that in it. We're just sneaking up on it, taking it nice and easy. I'm trying to keep the fenders on it. We're trying to run race pace laps. We're not trying to get ready to qualify. Everybody else out here has got a qualifying engine in and trying to run qualifying runs right now. So, you know, we're not after that at all. We're running race pace laps and got a race setup under the car right now.
As far as a racing career, this is a good break for you, isn't it?
Oh, I think so. You know, I wish it was a different set of circumstances. We're going to get to run all the Winston Cup races next year in the Lowe's Home Improvement Warehouse car. And, you know, I hate to see Dale out of this thing. I know that Dale can do a much better job than I could here. And, you know, I just hope that we can get him some valuable Winston Cup points so that thing don't slip away. It's not over. He can still win that deal.
Well, Earnhardt, he's talking about Earnhardt getting in that car on Saturday and starting the race, and who knows how far he can go. And Jerry Punch is going to show us some apparatus that might help him make it all the way.
Well, Bill Simpson, who is Mr. Safety in NASCAR, IndyCar racing, has been working night and day the past few weeks to try to develop something to help Dale Earnhardt and Richard Childress' racing team to make sure Dale Earnhardt is comfortable but also safe. And here's what they've come up with. Basically, Earnhardt will wear, first of all, a corset, a specially fit shoulder and chest corset that'll fit in sort of like a flak jacket. It'll be laced up to keep his chest nice and smooth and straight. Now, on top of that corset, they will put, as Brian Robson is going to be our model here, works for Simpson, will show us, they're going to put this foam pad. This is called NASA foam. Now, you see I put my thumb in that foam. It sort of stays in there. This is the same material that's used to make the couches and sofas on the space shuttle for the astronauts so they can absorb impact and acceleration and deceleration. That's the foam pad. Now, on top of that foam pad, they're going to put a carbon fiber or Kevlar sheet. That's a sheet there that will actually go up here on top of the foam pad. Now, over that, they will put what's called a double shoulder harness. See a double shoulder harness coming down. And the important thing about this one, the left one, the one that's going to be over Earnhardt's clavicle fracture, the fracture side actually is about right here where my hand is, comes straight down, so it actually pulls the shoulder straight back to keep the fracture in position. The right side harness comes over and makes a normal 30-degree tilt in toward the middle. But the left one, specially designed by Simpson, comes straight down on top of the Kevlar, on top of the NASA foam, on top of the corset. That's what Bill Simpson has worked to do to allow Dale Earnhardt to possibly get a chance to get in that car tomorrow for practice and qualifying.
Well, let's hope it works, but boy, I can't imagine driving 400 miles or even just a few laps with the injuries that he's received.
never ceases to amaze me, Bob, at how these guys continue to race when they're hurt.
Especially when you're in the thick of the championship, and has won 7 Winston Cup championships and is going for number 8. Here's the owner. The owner of this car also has 7 championships. Richard Petty. Bobby Hamilton behind the wheel. 170.309 was his last lap.
You know, I said that it never ceases to amaze me how these drivers hurt. I drove with a broken back in 1965, so I guess, you know, race drivers always been doing it.
Here's Bill Weber with Ernie Irvin.
Okay, Ernie's just climbed into the Haviland Ford, and he's going to go out and make a few laps here. How are you running?
Not bad. You know, we'd always, everybody I think would like to be running a little faster, but you know, in the last sheet we saw we were about 4th fast, but we'll just keep working at it.
I saw you and your teammate Dale Jarrett talking over there. You talking about the track? What are you talking about?
Well, we're talking about some of the things that we changed, and that's one of the things that when we have a teammate that he's got basically the same type of car, and we did some changes and helped our car, you know, a lot, and so it's one of the things that he's going to look at, and he's going to go and try it on his.
What'd you change?
That's I'm not going to tell you that.
Well, this team's red hot, and they're having a good run here, and Robert Yates is watching his driver climb in, and Ernie's going to go turn some laps here at the Brickyard.
He's 6th fast, 172.961. Hey, speaking of the medal count at the Olympics, the U.S. has 25 gold, 28 silver, and 13 bronze. Congratulations, Adam. Well, John Kernan will update you on everything that happened here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and, in fact, everywhere else in the world of motorsports as RPM tonight takes over the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the Brickyard with programs tonight, tomorrow night, and through the rest of the week. Tonight, Jeff Gordon, Bill Simpson, and news of the Silver Crown race from Indianapolis Raceway Park. And by the way, we will be on live with the Silver Crown race, the DuPont 100 from IRP on Thunder tonight at 9:30 Eastern Time. Well, we're going to wrap up our coverage here in about 5 minutes. Of course, we will be back tomorrow with more practice and then the qualification runs. Bobby Hillen is on the racetrack, and he's doing well.
Yeah, he just turned a fast lap of over 173 miles an hour. That puts him 6th fastest so far.
Very good run for Bobby Hillen in the 77 car. He's come off of it, though. You can see he's dropped down to the inside of the racetrack on the backstretch. A lot of cars behind us here now. We have the gas pumps that are located right next to us, so a lot of them are going up and getting some fuel for their next run.
And what many of them are doing, Bob, they're coming in and topping that fuel off because they have to qualify with a full tank of fuel, and so they're simulating qualifying runs here right now. This is about the time of the day when they'll be qualifying tomorrow or start qualifying, so they want to see how their cars are going to react this time of the day and put them in qualifying trim.
May not be real familiar with the car that we're following there on the racetrack, or were. That's Robbie Faggart in the 02 car. 162.276 was the lap that he just completed.
And this is something totally new for Robbie Faggart, who has won a number of the sportsman races in NASCAR. Here's Jeff Bodine, who was with us a little while ago. He's back out on the track now.
Got a 170.042 for the last lap.
And that's faster than he had run before, so improving a little bit.
Jeff Bodine started 25th in last year's Brickyard 400 and finished in 15th position. Nemechek making noise behind us as he goes back out onto the racetrack. Now let's see what Benny Parsons is up to.
Well, I tell you what, I knew we were going to have some closing comments, so I thought I would find Bill Weber and get his closing comments, because I don't have any.
You don't have any comments? Boy, mark that one in your books. Hey, I think NASCAR did a great job by bringing extra tires here. You could bring the Pocono tires, gave them the extra time here to run. It's great for the fans. They get to come out here on an extra day, but it's also great for the team because they're able to get that extra time. They put down the sealer on the track. The track's a little different. As Rick said, it's a lot more slick. So I think this has been a great day out here. The weather's been great, been a lot of fun, but tomorrow, all business, Benny.
It is all business, and you can tell that this race is a little bit something extra, and the purse a little extra because these fellas already, they have their game face on. The face that we normally would see on Friday or Saturday, they have it on Wednesday afternoon.
We got 48 cars, but how many start?
42 cars start, maximum 42, so 5 or 6 cars. maybe going home.
And this is the qualifying order. Guys going out late probably going to have an advantage.
Because as it gets cooler in the day, it will be an advantage. Jerry Bunch, what are your thoughts?
Hey, guys, it's going to be serious tomorrow for a lot of teams, but it's already serious here in the Goodrich team. There's David Smith laying on his side under the car. A moment ago, Richard Childress, the car owner, was on his knees, actually under the car. These guys know this race and next week are critical, but they're into omens. And remember last year, Dale Earnhardt said, hey, I'm going to start 13th, but I think I can win this thing. He started 13th and won it. He will qualify, or they will attempt to qualify 13th. Tomorrow. They drew number 13, so if you're into omens, folks, and you're a Goodrich Chevrolet supporter, maybe the numbers will come up once again. Smith on his side, Childress on his knees. A lot of serious conversation here trying to get Mike Skinner up to speed in practice. So it has been certainly a tough afternoon for these guys as they get set for qualifying and what should be a tough day tomorrow. Bob?
Yeah, we talk about whenever we come to Indianapolis, Ned, about how the shadows do move across the racetrack in the late afternoon, and those who qualify, drew for a high position, will probably have an advantage. Jeff Gordon, Rusty Wallace, and Terry Labonte are among the final 6 that will qualify tomorrow afternoon, so we may have a story there.
Could be a little bit of a break for them drawing those big numbers, and that's what everybody likes to do here. Sometimes I have seen it reverse itself.
Oh, yeah.
You just never know, depending on the weather on that afternoon.
Any big surprises here this afternoon, Ned, that you can...
Well, I think that it was a little surprised that they didn't run even faster than they did, although the top 10 are running faster than the track record here. But I guess the sealer that they put down has slowed them down a little bit, and I think that's good. We've got so many cars that are running very, very close together, so it's going to be a close qualifying day tomorrow.
Let's show you the top 10 in speeds at this point. There are a couple of more hours of practice left. We'll have the results on RPM tonight. Now, coming up later in the afternoon, this evening from Indianapolis Raceway Park, we'll have the DuPont 100 Silver Crown race for you. And then tomorrow, we'll have live coverage. There's the 9:30 start time on the Silver Crown race, the DuPont 100. And then tomorrow, we'll be on from 2 until 3 on the Deuce and 3 until 4 on regular ESPN. And the same schedule is true for Friday. Coming up next, Power to Shop, Brickyard 400 shopping for Ned Jarrett, Benny Parsons, Bill Weber, and Dr. Jerry Bunch. I'm Bob Jenkins. Thanks for joining us. So long, everyone.